Okay, so we threw away these campaign ads, but I realized that we needed to make a video intro. And we also didn't talk about endorsements for where we live. So the first one, Jimmy Gomez. We do not endorse, even though he's shown here shaking Bernie's hand. We do not believe he is the most progressive person in the race. He takes a ton of corporate PAC money, so no to Jimmy Gomez. I'll show you who you should vote for. You should vote for the person that Jimmy Gomez put an attack ad on. David Kim.
Let's go.
This said, David Kim and Donald Trump both oppose broad sanctions against Russia. And this is supposed to be an attack ad, but I also believe in opposing broad sanctions to Russia because I think we need to sit down at the bargaining table and end the war rather than continue it economically. David Kim. Vote for David Kim for the House. He's awesome. Don't worry. This is ridiculous. This is just an attack ad. All right, next attack ad. Real Democrat, fake Democrat. The choice for LA City Controller.
Not a real
First
Democrat.
off, who cares about real Democrat? What does that even mean?
Not a real Democrat.
What? I'm not even a real Democrat.
Not a real
Okay, so Paul Perez, this old white guy, was endorsed by the LA County Democratic Party.
There I go. Thinking of you again.
Kenneth Mejia, a fake Democrat with a history of working to defeat democracy or I don't know. He called Biden a rapist, actually. So.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, there are women who have said that he raped them, but I guess we're not supposed to believe that. Anyway, so yeah, vote for this guy. I think they tried to take a picture of him where he looks young and like ridiculous, but like we need someone. Do you really want this old shrimp as your LA City Controller? Come on, and he's Asian too. Do you want another old white guy? I mean, how well is this country done under all these old white guys?
Nobody pray for me. Even a day for me. Well, yeah.
Let's have Rocio Rivas. Woo! She's awesome. Met her at a May Day rally. She's running for the school board. Please vote for her if you can. Teddy Kapur for city attorney. I don't know
Kapur.
Kapur, thank you. I don't know much about this guy, but he seems nice, so vote for him, I guess. Karen Bass, I'm not going to endorse her, but if you don't vote for her, we're probably going to get Rick Caruso, but I can't.
No. We're supposed to...
Kevin De Leon? No.
No, not him.
Alex Gruenenfelder, the one we interviewed. Alright, you got the endorsements. Now, make sure you watch the rest of this video. We have an amazing interview with Carolyn Jiyoung Park, who's running for a Superior Court judgeship in Los Angeles, and I think you'll really like this interview. It's our first judge that we've ever interviewed, so I'm really excited to show you all.
Yes. Johnny, let's go!
Yeah. Welcome to the Far Left Show, we break it down, zooming through political news in the lockdown, talking to people, solving issues. These are the kinds of views you won't see on your news. Stick around the show, cause things could get crazy. We even have chihuahuas named Dougie and Daisy. We're called the Far Left to scare the neoliberals, but interview candidates from primary to general. We're the Far Left, break it down. Come and join us here and now. Johnny, Daisy, Natalie, Dougie, talk issues affecting this country. We're the Far Left, break it down. Come and join us here and now. Johnny, Daisy, Natalie, Dougie, talk issues starting now.
Perfect. So we're here with Carolyn Jiyoung Park, who's running for Superior Court Judge, office number 118. Wow, there's a lot of offices. Now, Jiyoung, I just was wondering, first off, like, what made you want to run for Superior Court Judge? And then after that, like, what is that? Or either way, like, what even is it?
So I've been a practicing attorney for over 18 years. I have a lot of litigation experience, and there were so many times that I was frustrated with the judge because I felt like sometimes I felt like the judge was honestly prejudging the person that I was representing, or I felt like the decision that they made was just wrong. But sometimes I also had some fair judges who made decisions in the favor of the person that I was representing. So I should also add that. But I felt like most of the judges that I appeared before could have been a little more fair. So I decided to step up. Frankly, I was asked to run by folks in ground game and law defensa. There is a coalition backing my slate, which is called the Defenders of Justice, and it's made up of California Working Families Party, ground game, and it's led by law defensa, which works on policy at the local and state levels. So the other people on my slate are 3 public defenders. I am a union side labor attorney who also now works on civil rights matters, some tenant matters, some small business, a bunch of stuff. And I just want to highlight that the names of the other slate mates are Elizabeth Lashley Haynes, Holly Hancock, who has run before and came very close, and Anna Slotky Raytano.
Thank you. And I was also wondering so could you explain a little bit about the court system? I know that's very basic, but just for us to have sort of a good understanding before we get into the conversation, what is so important about a superior court judgeship?
Sure. So all LA County voters are affected by the judges in the court system in LA County. So there are lots of different kinds of courts. There's criminal, civil, juvenile, probate, family court. I forgot what I've said already. Small claims, traffic, mental health, and appellate courts. So if you ever have a traffic violation, if you ever have a divorce, if you ever have custody issues, if you ever have, need to sue over a dog bite or have a DUI, you're gonna end up in the court system. So the question is, do you want judges who can be more fair? And in my opinion, people who have dealt with all different kinds of people day in and day out, like public defenders, like a union side labor attorney who works with workers from all walks of life. These are the kinds of people who have less biases, in my opinion. Or do you want to keep having mostly prosecutors who are winning these races? So LA County has not been electing judges forever. Some of them are appointed by the governor, and then some of them are elected. Out of the 50-something judges that have been elected since LA County voters started voting for judges, about 40-something of them have been prosecutors. And to have criminal prosecutors in all of these different kinds of courts is frankly kind of weird to me. So I think that there just needs to be more attorneys with various backgrounds in who are being elected to these judge seats, which end up in all these different kinds of courts.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know too much about that either, so that definitely helps. And I'm also just curious to hear about what you currently do. I know you're doing a lot outside of campaigning too. I think I saw that you're on the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council. I was also looking at the work that you currently do. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, I have a private law practice. I started that up in 2020, in mid 2020, after I left SEIU Local 1000. I am handling a lawsuit against the sheriff's department on behalf of protesters over civil rights violations and excessive force that we're claiming was used against, the protesters during the 2020 protests. I also have handled some matters on behalf of tenants and a tenants org. I handle some small business matters. I handle a variety of things. But outside of my legal practice, yes, I'm also a Silver Lake Neighborhood Council governing board member. I helped establish a food scrap drop-off site that's run by LA Compost at the Silver Lake Farmers Market. I've also advocated for protected bike lanes because I'm a cyclist. And I actually was also elected to be a California Democratic Party executive board member in the ADEM elections in early 2021, which also then made me an ex officio member of the LA County Democratic Party Central Committee. So basically I was a member of the LA County Democratic Party.
That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff that you do. So, I mean, you could definitely handle this, it seems. So, I honestly, one thing that you said that I was really thinking about was that there was a period of time where LA voters were not able to vote for their judges. So how did that, I guess I'm still trying to figure out, that doesn't seem like justice. And then the fact that you also said that prosecutors were the main judges being placed into these offices, like, so, and this is again really basic, but prosecutors are prosecutors like bad, public defenders good? or like, obviously there's nuance, but I guess in a way that's kind of how I interpreted it, but I wanted to hear kind of your clarification on that.
I wouldn't say all prosecutors are bad and all public defenders are good. But what I would say is that too much of anything just creates an imbalance, and to have so many of these elected judicial seats be occupied by prosecutors does, in my opinion, create an imbalance, because prosecutors, a lot of them have a certain perspective from years and years of representing the government and prosecuting people, and their job is to convict people of crimes and put people in jail, and often for the maximum amount of time that they can. And so, I think that naturally colors some people's perspectives. So are all DAs bad? No, I wouldn't say that. But what I do know is that there really needs to be way more community lawyers, more public defenders, more nonprofit attorneys. You know, I don't think that there's a single person who's running for these judicial seats who comes from a nonprofit. I don't think that there's a single person on the LA County Bar's Judicial Election Endorsement Committee who's from a nonprofit. You know, yeah, I think also that the Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson confirmation highlighted how much we need attorneys from different backgrounds getting onto the bench. And we can see from everything that's happening that we really need more diversity on the bench.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just going to take a crack at this, but I'm assuming most of these judges are white males. And I know that, you know, I think that you're right. Like, this diversity is really important. And I want to know, like, if you, let's say Jiyoung Park wins this election, what would you do? Like, what would your judgeship look like in practice?
Sure. So I think what a lot of folks don't know is that everyone in LA County can vote for these judicial seats. Everyone, and some people don't even know that they're in LA County. So everyone from Long Beach to Palmdale, Santa Clarita, Antelope Valley to Pomona to Santa Monica, everyone in between can all vote for in all of the judicial races of LA County. And once a judge is elected, they can be assigned to any court in LA County and any type of court. And just because you have, say, criminal experience does not necessarily mean that you're going to be assigned to a criminal court. You can be assigned to small claims court, family court. There's a better chance that if you're a criminal attorney, that you'll be assigned to a criminal court, but that's not necessarily the case. Wherever there are vacancies, that's where folks are going to be assigned. So that said, if I'm elected judge, what I bring is my unique perspective, which is informed by working with people from all walks of life. It's not informed by putting people in jail day in and day out. It's informed by being in the trenches, representing people, workers, students, immigrants from all walks of life. I've represented, custodians, certified nursing assistants. I represented one certified nursing assistant who works for the state, who was living out of her car while taking care of her mother, because she wasn't earning enough money to be able to afford a place in LA for a while. I represented nurses and tax auditors, like all kinds of people, students and retired folks. One lady I represented on a pro bono basis who is a little elderly lady from Pasadena who participated in a sit-in when the mortgage foreclosures were happening There was a sit-in at one of the major banks in Pasadena, and I represented her on a pro bono basis. So so my perspective is informed by regular people of LA County, all over LA County. And let me also add that as a daughter of Korean immigrants, my mother, my whole life, has spoken to me in Korean, and I speak to her now in English. And so just language justice for me is a really big thing. In criminal court, there is a constitutional right to have an interpreter. But in the civil courts, there isn't a constitutional right to have an interpreter. So while in LA County courts, there is an effort to provide interpreters, sometimes, people aren't going to have access to that. And I want to make sure that people do have access to interpreters to be able to tell their story,
Yeah, actually, that goes with something I wanted to ask you. I was curious, like, what are common trends of injustice that you've seen in your line of work? I know you were just talking about, like language justice. So yeah, I'm just curious if there's any other trends that you've seen, anything that, just any takeaways that you've gotten from all of your experience in law.
Sure. One of the big things that I kind of see is a kind of jadedness on the part of people who have these judge positions, because they want to get through these cases. They want to get cases off their plate, and they see a lot of the kind of same types of cases, and then I feel like a lot of them tend to have a bias towards the employer and against the employee. And it's like this, instead of having a clean slate where the judge is truly evaluating all of the evidence, that's before them, there's this extra hurdle of like getting past their preconceived ideas about what's happened in the case. And I that's not the case for everybody. But I mean, I've encountered that, I feel like, a lot of the time. There's also kind of the issue that, judges are also employed by the state. So, that's a larger issue. But there's that too.
Is there anything else you can say on that last part?
I mean, not really.
Yeah, no, I get you though. Is there anything else about this race? Maybe you could tell, I know ballots are out, but how long do we have to submit our ballots? And is there anything else we should know about the race or about, anything regarding this election?
Yeah, well, I want to uplift that I'm running with, honestly, with 3 other female attorneys. The other 3, again, are public defenders. There are some other public defenders that are running in for other seats as well. So this may be the election in which there have been the most public defenders and community attorneys running for these seats ever. So I really hope that LA County voters will take advantage of the opportunity to get some community-oriented attorneys and perspectives on the bench. And I also, did I already say this? I don't think I did. Only 38% of the trial court judges in LA County are women. So that's not okay, in my opinion. And a public defender has never been elected to a judge seat in LA County, ever. So in order for us to win, we really need folks to get out the word about us. Again, it's the Defenders of Justice 2022. So the deadline to register to vote to have a regular ballot was yesterday, I believe. Yes, it was yesterday, but people can still register to vote at the polls and use a provisional ballot. Everyone who's already registered at the correct address should already have a mail-in ballot, and you can mail it back, but you do have to remember to sign your envelope, or you can sign your envelope and drop it off at a drop-off box. You can actually also drop it off at a polling place if you'd like, or you can just go in to the polls and vote if that's what you prefer. But
What day is it again? Sorry, the when
June 7th.
June 7th. Okay.
Wow.
So we have 2 more weeks.
Wow. Well, I just want to say thank you for sharing those stats with us. That is very alarming. I mean, I could have probably guessed some similar stats, but it's crazy to know that those are the actual numbers. And also, yes, we did get our ballot mailed to us, and we obviously voted for you. So just want to say best of luck, and thank you for all the work that you've been doing. You really are standing for justice, which is great. So thank you so much.
And shout out to the Defenders of Justice, right? Your slate.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think just for a fun question, I see it says in your free time you like to ride your bike, practice yoga, shop at farmers markets, cook, and eat. Out of all those, what can you expound or talk a little bit more about just any hobbies these hobbies? Like, the writing sounds really interesting, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have so many interests. I don't know. I'm like, whenever like my friends want to know what restaurant to go to, or what, want to know like what's fun to do or where to go. Basically a lot of them ask me, because I don't know, I just like to explore, and I just have a very curious spirit. And so, yeah, as far as the writing, I think that electoral politics only gets us so far. And I think people say that all the time, but I really do believe that it's true. I will, as I'm canvassing, I'll go up to some people and they'll just be like, some of the people will just be like downright hostile. Most people are like, oh, okay, what's up? But some people are just like, I don't care about politics. But what does reach people, most people, is storytelling. And so I think that changing the hearts and minds of people through storytelling is a really important part of change. And so that's why I like to write. In addition to the fact that, it's also like cathartic and meditative.
Do you have any books to plug, or or you got anything in the works?
No, I don't have anything to plug at the moment.
If you ever do, I think after this, we definitely need to get some recommendations from you on where to go. We love to explore. I'm sure we don't explore as much as you do, but we should. But again, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. You're our first candidate for a judgeship. Mm-hmm. So we're happy to, check that off. And we really are going to be hoping and praying that your slate gets in. And again, we're just so happy that you're on here. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for even caring about the judicial elections, because some people's eyes just glaze over, but these are really important elections because they, like I said, they affect people's lives in so many different ways. And it's going to have real impacts on Angelino's lives. So thanks again.
Jiyoung Park, everybody. Thank you for coming out, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.